I have this to speak with.
Hey guys, I'm just going to make a quick announcement. I just realized we have 2 instead of 30 copies. When you see your team sheet, if you could write down who's on your team, that would be awesome. So that's going to be going around, and we'll start really soon.
iPads.
Okay. That'd be okay. That general direction. Okay. I can do that. Hold on a second. Let me drop my stop. It should be recording. It should be recording? Okay. So. Just watch whatever they're presenting. Okay. You are about to find out. Let me know if you are not on that list.
For 3 days. It's a great week.
Where do you work, Sarah? Oh. You're gonna deliver me a pizza?
I don't deliver.
You don't deliver?
She cooks it and stuff. Sometimes she answers the phone and it's fine. Like, that's my job. Matt and Cam are the owners. And it's a family-owned business?
Yes.
I wasn't late enough in my life.
You're not on it? That's okay. Well, that will change.
Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our team just so you know who you're talking to for the next 10 weeks. My name's Courtney, I'm the YEP Program Director.
I'm Riley, and I'm the YEP Program Coordinator.
And we're going to be working with you over the next 10 weeks to just get you to learn about entrepreneurship and business. So our speaker today is going to be Luke Singer, and he is pretty awesome. He's a student entrepreneur over at Indiana Wesleyan. But before we get started with his really awesome session, we're going to talk about house rules and what you can expect over the next few weeks. So Riley's going to cover some of that for you.
Yeah, so just to start out, we're going to pass around an attendance sheet for the first session. Normally, we'll have a much more structured format of doing this, but some teams might change up a little bit over the course of the next couple weeks, just because that's the nature of the first few days. So if you could just fill this out, your first and last name, and then write Marion or Mrs. Sinawat next to your name. That would be perfect. And so this is the Young Entrepreneurs Program. Can anybody explain maybe what an entrepreneur is just off the bat? What's your name?
Brianna Bartram.
Sorry, what was that?
Brianna Bartram.
Brianna.
It's someone who invests into multiple different businesses.
That is a very, very good answer, yes. Does anybody else have another definition? What is an entrepreneur? Yes, what's your name?
Someone who is also successful in multiple businesses or one specific business that they are running.
That was great, thank you. So people who are successful at running businesses but also starting businesses. And a key part of entrepreneurship is collaboration and innovation, which is the theme of today's topic. Now, over the next 10 weeks, we're going to have 10 different topics. And these are going to consist of sessions where we'll talk about and do fun exercises about all the different parts that go into a business plan. Do you guys have any idea what goes into a business plan? Anybody, just shout out ideas.
Budgets.
What was that?
Budgets.
Budgets, yeah. Anybody? What do you need to start a business? Ideas, yeah, definitely.
So what kind of stuff would you put into a packet? Let's say you're going to write a business plan. You're going to give it to some guy that has a lot of money and he wants to invest in your business. What is he going to want to know about your
You're
business?
going to need to know the area, what you're going to need, what's going to need to be built on it, what stuff you need to start it, what all you need to get the things out of the way to make money, what you want needs first.
Right.
So over the next 10 weeks, we're going to talk about financial plans, marketing plans, business plans, all these different aspects that go into making a business and ultimately being an entrepreneur. So over the course of these 10 weeks, you guys are going to be together with this group of 30 students, yes?
30.
And you guys will be broken up into teams of 3. So we'll have 10 teams total. And you guys will be competing at the very end of the course in our Spirit of Entrepreneurship competition, yes?
Mm-hmm.
And we have 3 really exciting prizes, and also you'll be competing for scholarships. And this is based on judgment of your business plan. So you'll have a, 10-page business plan? How long would you say they'd be?
About.
Yeah, so about 10 pages, which sounds like a lot, but actually that's not a lot at all. And you'll find it'll be hard to keep it to just 10 pages. And in addition to the document and the actual business plan, you guys will be doing a presentation at your individual high schools first. So we'll have 5 teams at Mississinawa and 5 teams at Marion, and you'll present to a panel of judges. And then the top 3 teams from each school will move on to present at Indiana Wesleyan in front of a team of local professionals and business owners. And there you guys will compete again for the scholarships and prizes. And they're pretty cool. Like, I was pretty jealous when I heard what the prizes were.
Mm-hmm. We have in first place an iPad. In second place, Dr. Dre Beats headphones. And third place is $50 cash. So on top of your awesome scholarships, you get some good stuff too.
Yeah, that's what the scholarships
I'm sorry?
are. The scholarships are too.
Yeah, we have up to $2,500 in first place scholarships.
But the most important part of the program is that you guys show up. So we're going to talk really quick just about attendance and what's expected. So over the course of the next 10 weeks, you guys are allotted 2 unexcused absences, and that consists of anything from athletics to academics to vacation. And you're also allotted 4 half absences, so that's arriving or leaving 20 minutes early or late, respectively. And it's really important, given the small nature of our teams and the short nature of the program, that you guys really be here, because ultimately your team will suffer as a result of it. However, we do have excused absences, again, for emergencies or illness, and you'll just be able to contact myself or Courtney in an event of such an absence. But if you guys do miss, we actually have resources online. So we'll be handing out these lovely handbooks, which you guys, so all the information we're talking about is going to be in here. But you'll be able to go online to the Young Entrepreneurs Program off the Grant County page, and there'll be makeup sessions. So you'll be able to watch videos of each session and fill out a worksheet, which you'll turn in the following session. So what do I mean when I say sessions? We're going to have 2 sessions each week. The first of which is going to be on Tuesdays, and that's going to be a session like this, from 4:15 to 5:15, and we're going to go every other week between Marion and Mississinawa. There'll be a schedule in here, so you guys don't have to write this down. And then the other sessions are going to be team sessions. Now this is different between Marion and Mississinawa, but this is time where you guys can get together in your groups and do the nitty-gritties of the business plan. Both are really important to attend, but we'll be keeping track mostly of your attendance at the Tuesday sessions. So, does anybody have any questions so far about the attendance policy? Can you think of anything else?
I think that's a good summary.
I think that's a pretty good summary too. So be here, because it's fun, and the best part of making a business plan is thinking of these ideas and putting them on paper. And that'll be your most successful part of it. Participation, again, be here, have fun, work hard. If there's an issue with work balance, because we've all been on teams where everyone doesn't pull their own weight, I don't expect that out of you guys. You guys are honor students, you volunteers who come here.
Yeah,
But
it's not going to happen.
it won't happen at all. But if it does, again, our contact information is in here, and you'll be able to reach out to us for that. So be sure to be here, be good participants, obey school rules. We're still in class, so we'll be sure to do that. Do you guys have any questions so far? All right, so as we're going through each part of the business plan, you guys will have deadlines. So we say deadlines, but you're not obligated to turn anything in until the very end of the program, where you'll be turning in your final business plan and presentation. However, you guys are going to have mentors, which means that someone from the college, actually Indiana Wesleyan, is going to be assigned to your team. Now, this is an experienced business student who's going to help you answer your questions and walk you through the business plan. And if you would like, on the deadlines included in our schedule, you can submit your business plan or your draft and get review for it, which we really encourage. Again, there's no penalty for not turning anything in, but those who do will do exceptionally better, assumingly at the end of the competition. So again, all those deadlines are gonna be in here. And otherwise, Tuesday, November 21st is gonna be the ultimate award ceremony. So, and then the final copy is gonna be November 12th of when your guys' business plans are gonna be due. So you can think about in your head how much time you have, and I'm really excited. I feel like this is gonna go by really fast, but, you know, we'll see how it goes. In the meantime, to facilitate good teamwork, we're gonna have 4 different resources for you guys. Each team will be assigned a Google account. Raise your hand if you've used Gmail before. Good, so I don't have to explain a whole lot. And this is gonna be the email through which you'll reach Courtney, myself, or your mentor with questions and submissions. It's also the login that you'll use for your Dropbox account. Now, how many of you have used Dropbox? Okay, good. For those of you who don't really know, it's essentially an online USB where you're able to store files and access them. And through Dropbox, you'll be able to submit your final work, essentially. And then you'll be able to share this file with your respective teacher, so Marion and Mrs. Sinawat, with YEP leadership, and with your mentor, who you will be assigned probably around the 3rd session. So, do you guys understand that process of turning in information? Great. And also on Google Docs, you have the option to do document sharing if you want. So if you want to collaborate on a mock-up business plan or brainstorm ideas, that's available to you as well. And like I mentioned earlier, we'll have resources online at grantcounty.com under the YEP section, where you'll be able to find makeup session videos, makeup worksheets, and additional resources. So if you do have an unexcused absence, again, you'll be able to excuse it by accessing those resources. And finally, who's on Facebook? Oh, who's on Facebook?
I heard it's Twitter a lot these days.
Really?
Yeah.
Am I old?
I guess.
I'm old, I guess. Well, go back to Facebook, because we're gonna have a Facebook group for you guys to join. And through that, we'll be able to remind you about dates and places. Again, your schedule's in here, but we know everybody needs a reminder every once in a while, right? So, yeah. Do you guys feel okay with that process? Do you guys know how to reach us?
All this information is in the binder. You're not gonna remember all this. I wouldn't remember all this. So yeah, you can always pull up the stuff, and there's detailed instructions on how to make up all of your work and all the deadlines and everything. So it should be covered.
I'm excited.
Bless you.
Wait, where's the attendance sheet? Is it still going around? Does anyone have it?
Back there. Yeah.
And make sure you're still passing that.
Yep, keep passing that around. And you guys all have your team sheets, correct?
Everybody knows what team they're in? Yep, awesome. Make sure you guys are bringing your binders every week. That's just something that's going to help you stay organized. We're going to hand out worksheets for every section that we talk about, so you can keep all of your stuff in your binders. And yeah, we'll pretty much always work off of these, so that's your lifeblood.
Your binder's your new best friend. They both could be, so it's easy to remember. And you guys can feel free to write on these, write your name on them, personalize them, because these are going to be yours to keep. There's a lot of really valuable information. Our guest speakers, again, are local professionals, entrepreneurs, and experts in the field that they'll be talking about. So you'll definitely want to take notes and keep all your worksheets, because they'll help you write your business plan immeasurably.
So one more thing, and then we're going to get right into the session. Your business concept, the thing that you're going to work on for the next 10 weeks with your groups, is going to be due at session 3. So when you have team time this week, meet with your groups and come up with a business idea. And you can work on that for the next 2 weeks, but we're going to have the hard date on the 3rd session, so that we can really dive into it. So yeah, work on that this week.
And now we have Luke Singer here, who's going to inspire your guys' business plans with all of his innovative and collaborative ideas. So, can everybody give Luke a hand, please? And I'm also going to pass around a note sheet, so you guys can feel free to take notes as Luke's talking. I encourage you to. He's honestly one of the best peers I've been privileged to work with, and he's been through this program before. Actually, he ran it last year. So he knows what you guys are going through and what it takes to be successful. So again, I'll pass these around. Be sure to take good notes, and thank you, Luke.
Well, I noticed, I already lied to you and told you that that was the last thing I was gonna say. One more thing. We're doing this really awesome event called Escape to Reality, and it's gonna be at Taylor University. Thank you so much for reminding me of this. And it's gonna be on September 12th. So I'm hoping that everybody brought their paperwork, because it's due today. But if you did not bring your paperwork, make sure that you have everything in by our next session. And if you did, when you're leaving, just come up here and set it down. If we don't have your permission slips, you cannot go to Escape to Reality, and we want everybody to be able to go. So make sure you have all of that in, either today or the next session. Cool?
All right. Well, as you guys know, I'm Luke Singer, and I'm not really gonna have a baby. You guys are adults, you know. So I know when I was a junior and senior in high school, I hated being babied. So this program is all about that, and it's really cool to watch kids go from what you learn right now and what you're going to do in about 10 weeks. Because there's no other career path, no other. Really, it's a mindset that takes you where you're going to go with entrepreneurship. And just a little bit about me. I'm a senior at Indiana Wesleyan. I'm studying finance and entrepreneurship. And I've always been kind of a nerd in business. When everybody else is out playing, when I was like 6 years old, I actually thought I owned a company. And I employed everybody in the neighborhood, and they just were my slaves pretty much. That was before I understood what management was. So you guys understand that, and you won't have slaves. But I've had the pleasure of, I've started 3 businesses, 2 of which I'm still operating, one of which I kind of discontinued a couple of years ago. The first one is, it's kind of a running joke around our areas. I actually own one of the largest mulch suppliers in northern Illinois. I am from Illinois, up by Chicago area, and it's kind of a joke. I had to get a job, did not want to fold clothes, hate folding clothes, and hate making people sandwiches that I can't eat. So Subway, Target, Kohl's, all that was out of the deal. So I thought, heck, why not? I start a mulch company. It grew and grew. I literally hate the work, but then I began to love the business of it. Recently, about 2 years ago, when I came into college, I really found a passion between health and business. I love working out, I love being healthy, and I realized that it's a completely all-over market. So I created a company called Reset International. We now have partners all over the country and even internationally, and I have customers from Europe to Asia to Canada. It's amazing. It's amazing what the internet can do, really, all while sitting in a dorm room. So, all that being said, I'm not going to give you a how-to speech today, and I don't think any of these people are going to teach you how to do something, because if how-tos are real, we'd all be skinny, rich, and happy, right? So, what we're going to do is I'm going to kind of set you in a mindset. I got the easy job. I'm going to put you in the mindset of being an entrepreneur and being innovative and collaborating. So kind of start off with a story that puts you there. It happened in 2002. This is actually my eHarmony picture before I lost some weight. But the thing of it is, in 2002, there was at Brown University, there was a study done with a monkey. And what the monkey did was they trained the monkey to literally go and play a video game. And the video game was pretty simple. It had a yellow circle and a red triangle. And the yellow circle's job was to go around and catch that randomly moving red triangle. So it's no halo. And the monkey did it. The monkey was chasing it and actually caught the red triangles playing the game. But what made it so innovative and what's so crazy about it, this results of the study was considered the most significant discovery, the most innovative and creative discovery in the past 50 years. And all what happened is the monkey was not using a control or a joystick. The monkey was actually using its mind. So kind of Jedi-like things, pretty freaky. So when we stop and think about it, holy crap, We can control things with our mind now. So what does that do? If you lose an arm, you can actually have, you've seen the iRobot where the arms are actually moving. Well, that's what this new innovative study realized. Well, why had this never, in the study it became really simple at how everything was working, and people didn't understand why this had happened before. And that's what I'm kind of getting at in this thing today, is how do you get somewhere that's so innovative? And a lot of us, to us, me as kind of an average person, create such amazing, unbelievable ideas, when it really boils down to all they were is just simple practices of what they were. So, to understand why it was created, we have to understand what is creativity. There's two major aspects to creativity. The first major aspect is it has to be new. Obviously, you can't take a Monet painting and redo it and call it your own. You can't take create an online bookstore in the same model of Amazon and call it a new, great, innovative idea. So, you have to think of something new, obviously. But, you can also tell an old story in a new way. And what I mean by this is, Thomas Edison, he created the light bulb. Awesome, right? He got this light bulb that's working. So the issue was they could not figure out how to connect it to the wall. So they're going through all this time. He has a team of like 50 people pouring hours and months and years trying to develop this one little thing and try to connect a light bulb to a wall. And what ended up happening is he was taking his medicine and he unscrewed the top. And he just looked at the screw cap, and he realized that's how I'm going to connect it. And never before, and that's considered one of his greatest inventions ever, was an inverted screw cap. And so what happens is so many people think, oh, I need to create this amazing idea like, that no one's ever thought of before. But really, the reality is you could take something like this and tell a whole new story with it, and it'll change the world. That's how easy it can be. And the second big thing is valuable. So if I come out and say, 4 plus 4, 8 plus 8 equals, 9 million, that's really original, but it has no true value to you guys. There's no value to it. There's no true marketability to it. So to be validated to it, to have an idea that's valuable, it has to be relevant to a lot of people. So in that monkey story, that research, when they published that research, hundreds of thousands of emails, phone calls, and any other way of communication were contacting this called Brain Science Center at Brown University. And when they got in there, the people were using this research to further their research. And it was literally changing the world of multiple fields. And I'm going to touch on how this all happened, because really, it's a simple thing. So now we have creativity. And we all think that innovation is just somewhat like creativity. And this is kind of how we think. But the reality is innovation is just creativity put into reality. That's as simple as it is. Innovation is taking your creative idea and implementing it. So many people, every single day, have amazing ideas. I was meeting with a guy in May. I was speaking at a conference in Kansas City. And it was funny because he had this really cool idea, and he was working on it, he was developing it, and he was going to launch it. A VC guy behind him, venture capitalist behind him, to fund it. And so he goes, we leave the conference, and about a couple months later, I call him up, and I asked him, I said, so how's it going? And he goes, oh, well, I've kind of moved on. Here's my new idea. The reality is there's so many people in this room and in this country and everywhere we go have these amazing ideas and these really cool things, but that's all they thrive on, is ideas. And those are the people that you just want to sludge. Because, an idea is only as useful as its value, its usefulness. So, obviously it has to be marketable. And is there any artists in the room? Okay. Well, I'm going to touch on something. I have some friends that are artists, and they kill me. They literally kill me. They're amazing artists. They're awesome people. They have amazing skills. But what they get so wrapped up in is in their mind. And this is sad things with entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are artists of business. And so many people, they go into their mind and they create these amazing ideas and they get it to the point of implementation. But then when they do it, they implement it, the product's there, you can't market it. Nobody wants it. And so some of my friends, and they do these amazing artistic works, but nobody will ever buy it. And I know money is not the most important thing in the world. But money is up there with oxygen on the have-to-have scale. You know, you have to have money, and when you need it, you really, really need it. And so what we want to do is you guys can create amazing, innovative ideas with your businesses. But if you can't market it, it's useless. All right? I have a friend who, amazing guy, he's an engineer a satellite engineer, or an aerospace engineer, excuse me, at Boeing. They spent $50 billion on this new project they're doing. And what they did is, all they did is they've created personal satellites about this big and they're about 8 pounds. Anybody can buy them, right? Awesome. It's creative, it's innovative, but the issue is that with this is they cannot figure out how to sell them. Well, cool, we have a satellite, but what company is going to put up $3-4 million for a satellite? Unless there's a clear, definitive value and purpose to it. So, and with that, and just a side note here, we live in a time and age when you don't just have one type of cereal you can eat. You have thousands, okay? You don't have just one type of soda you can drink. You have thousands. We have options out the ears right now. So where there's a competitive saturation going on. So, to boil it down, is when you create ideas, you have to have an idea that is different. You have to have an idea that is something that makes it go, oh yeah, that works. Because I've seen so many times when people come in and they have a bakery, for instance, and they love to bake and they have this bakery, but there's nothing different about that bakery than any other bakery out there. And so you're sitting in front of your judges, to put it in your guys' context, and they're going to drill you, why should I buy it? What's different? And if all you can say is the same old things every single bakery has, you're not going to have a business. And that's why over 95% of all entrepreneurial ventures fail. And they fail, and even in 5 years, it's almost 99% of all businesses fail. So having that competitive advantage. So, how do you innovate? We know what innovation is, we know what creativity is. You know, creativity is the origin of your innovation. It's at a thing called the intersection. And this is a huge thing. It's a mindset that I want you guys to get in right now. Remember I was talking about the bakery, right? The bakery is an idea, right? And everybody knows what a bakery is. And there's standards, there's kind of gridlocks on how a bakery runs. There's gridlocks on how you do a jewelry business, or how you run a school. You look at the models of schools, and a lot of them are the same throughout the country. So, how do you make something different? You take an intersection. The reason why the monkey research was so incredible was there was the first time the Brain Science Institute, or program at Brown University, what they did is they combined every single field in their entire university to be a part of this study. It was the first time. Usually when monkeys are researched, it's zoologists and biologists studying it. Never before have computer scientists come in. Never before have neurologists come in. Never before had mathematicians come in to learn and to research this. And what happened was you begin to see intersections form. And what's so amazing is these Brain Science Institute people were beginning to realize, oh wait, I can talk. I'm a computer guy, but I can talk to a biologist, and it works. And I can apply his things. So how that applies to you guys is in a way of when you're looking at it, I'm not expecting you guys to create a robotic arm controlled by your mind. But what I'm saying is you can create a bakery, and you can look at a bakery and say, okay, how can I make it different? And this is a practice, is be counterintuitive. I'm going to talk about it later. And it's an amazing thing because it just shocked me once I started doing it. So, intersectional innovation, there's two types of innovation. Directional innovation and intersectional. Directional is John D. Rockefeller. John D. Rockefeller came in and he saw a business opportunity in oil, right? All he did was he changed up the process and he just changed up the model. What happened in that was he became extraordinarily wealthy. But it was a progression of innovation that we could see, right? We can see that happening. We can see what's going to happen probably next in agriculture. You know, there's only so much innovation that can happen in an industry silo, is what I like to call it. Healthcare. There's only so much innovation that can happen there. So what intersectional innovation is it's saying, okay, so I know I probably cannot change the world of healthcare, but I know I can change the world in something else, combining it. So what this is it radically improves the world and our market and leads to a new direction. So that's what social networking did. Everybody loves to be a part of social networks, offline. Okay, we all want to have friends, we all want to have families, we all want to have that relationship. Well, what they did is they combined that need, that desire, with what their expertise was in, computers. And they saw the intersection and a new industry was formed. And 15 years ago that we never even saw it. 10 years ago, it wasn't really even around. So you're interacting and intersecting multiple aspects of the world around you. So take an idea. Every one of you has a different passion, per se, in an industry. You're all interested in a field, right? Whether it be technology, whether it be music, whether it be art, whether it be whatever. But start looking at that, and then in your groups, see what other people's interests are. I'm going to touch on that in one moment. And harmony. You're not gonna find much innovation and creativity and new ideas in the same old, same old. And I can guarantee you, if you do that, you're not going to be able to pitch it to the judges as well, or your VCs in future years. So, intersection obviously is where true innovation occurs. There's a multi-dimensional thinking that goes in that, and it's a big word for something simple. Get out of your box. Step outside of what you're in right now, because guess what? Nothing is going to ever great happen inside the box. You know, the moment I could have gone through high school and never, ever, ever started that stupid mulch company that I really didn't want to start. But because I did, I would quadruple the amount of money in 3 weeks than what everybody else made in all summer. And that is when you begin to see true innovation and true influence take shape. Okay? I began to employ dozens upon dozens upon dozens of my own classmates. And I was making a difference in their lives. So that's the power of multidimensional thinking, or the power of stepping outside your box and seeing, okay, it's really awkward here, I hate this, I know nothing about this, but here I am. How am I going to figure it out? So you have the base of who you are, and your experiences, and your fields, and whatever you enjoy and know about, but then you begin to see what's other people doing, and what other people are talking about. Okay? And I've touched on this. We came from a time, 100 years ago, the greatest innovations that were happening consistently were exploratory. Okay? They were discovering continents. They were discovering engines. They were discovering massive things that really we're not going to see much. You know, when we talk about the new discoveries with human anatomy, I mean, heck, I don't know, I have 5 fingers. I think everybody has 5 fingers. We're not going to find another finger on our body. You know what I mean? So there's only so much that can happen. But you can have that expertise. And so stepping out of that, you begin to see, okay, now we can talk about creation. And every great invention, almost every single great invention or innovation, whether in the sciences or business or whatever, from 50 years ago to now, has been out of creation, not through discovery. So it's easy now for us, guys. We have access to unbelievable information that we will never be able to all sort through in our lives. But we can now begin to step out of our box, compare what we know, and see what's out there and find intersections in everyday life, right? Okay, so how do you get in the intersection? Key point, people, all right? I'm talking about teamwork today a little bit too. You guys are in teams, and you're like, some of you are probably, oh man, I didn't want to be with that person, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And what happens is, you didn't want to be with that person because they're different than you. They're different, they might be weird. Heck, I'm weird. And I know Riley's weird, I know Courtney's weird, but that's what makes them great. And I don't get along with everybody in life, and no one gets along with everybody in life. But when you begin to sit down in your circle, and you're in your group, and how many people are in a group? 3 people. Perfect. The trifecta. You're like the trinity of business. So, you begin to see what they're all about. And you get to dig into them and realize, okay, I'm me, they're them. How are we going to find an intersection? And I'm going to talk about that in a moment. So, an example, Indian languages, Sequoia was in India back in 1809, right? He got a job. He was actually forced. Talking about slaves, he's a slave, the U.S. Army, right? And his job was to decipher Indian signs. Okay? Well, in that time, he learned how to read and write in English. Okay? So, what happened was he spent 30 years reading and writing in English. He realized his Cherokee people didn't have a language, and he saw the importance of that language in their people, and how important written language and true oral structure works. So guess what? In a matter of 10 years, he created his own language. He's considered one of the greatest geniuses of all time, and his IQ is below average. He was a normal Indian that grew up in a tent his whole life. All right, I think he's got us all beat on the story-wise. Okay, and what he did was he saw their culture, right? He saw the American culture, and what we did, one thing was our language. And he saw that, and he knew it, right? That was his field. He kind of was interested in it. But he also had his roots in Cherokee. And he realized we're missing that, right? We're not into that. So guess what? He created that intersection. He got uncomfortable, and he sat down and created a language. Only man ever to do that in the history of time, to create their own language. So when you're in your groups, this is teamwork, you got to shut up and listen for the extroverts out there, okay? I'm an extrovert, I'm a driver, and I have this tendency to go into a situation, I like to guide it my way. But what I realized was when I did that, nothing ever great got done. So just be quiet. Listen, all right? Settle down, just kind of, just listen and feel out those people around you and understand where they're coming from. For the introverts, stand up a little bit. Let's hear your voice. Let's hear what you got to say, because everybody's got something to say, right? Because guys, if you walk out of this team session, or this 10 weeks, and you've created an idea that you use the F-bomb in, all right, I'm going to be furious, because guess what? The F-bomb to me is fine. And I don't know how many times I've gone into group situations, and I've walked out and going, oh, I'm fine with that idea. It works. It works. It's practical. It works. You need to be innovative. You need to be excited about this idea. And that's the core. You need to be told, I would love to sit there and say, you can't do this. It just doesn't seem feasible. And you show me up. You show me that it can be done. All right? And I've seen so many people do it. So absorb and then find those intersections of what's going on in your dynamic. So really be intuitive and listening to what's happening. Key point 2, screw business as usual. I don't know if you guys know Richard Branson. He wrote a book entitled Screw Business as Usual. If you guys, example bakery, okay? If you guys write a business plan that is the same business plan as any other bakery ever created, you did nothing. You copied something, right? So stop looking at what is normal in your industry. Stop looking at, oh, this is what we're supposed to do. Because the people that are changing the world and we consider the greatest people ever and the leaders of our time, they are looking beyond the boundaries of the industry. They're saying, okay, I like this model, I like this field, but let's go check out what they're doing. So this is how you do it, right? So a bakery, you come in, you buy your food, right? So when you're writing your ideas down, I want you to go through everything. Keep it simple, stupid. Take an easy idea, right? And keeping it simple, it's a bakery. That's my passion. I love to bake bread, right? And you're going to go through and say, I need this is how a normal bakery works. A normal bakery goes like this. I wake up in the morning, I make the bread, right? People come into my store, and then I take their money, they give me money, and I give them bread, right? They can sit down, whatever. Now, let's flip it. So now you get all that down, right? Now you're going to say, I don't bake the bread. I don't have a building. I don't have an oven. I don't have people pay me. And I know it might sound ridiculous, but create that model and then talk about it. How can you make it? How can you make a bakery that you are not actually paying for the bread, or people are paying you to make the bread? Well, maybe they come in and they rent the time, because a lot of times people have lunch meetings. Well, I would rent the time if I knew my renting the time in that restaurant and I would get free food. It's a different idea. It would change the model. And now when you're talking to your judges, it's like, oh wow, this is different. This is unique. And so we want to be contradictory. Be different. There are no rules in innovation. So if you guys create something, you go look at how a normal health club works, okay? You're just like every other health club. And good luck and success, right? Good luck ever making a buck. Because if you go, I'm going to be a different type of health club. There's something different. Like if healthcare, doctors come in and they heal you when you're sick. Well, what if the job, and the doctors are paid to heal you, what if the doctor's job is to keep you healthy? How do you think that would change the whole healthcare situation? People would be healthier if their job was incentivized by keeping you healthy. All right, quantity creates quality. Write everything down. Every crazy idea. If you guys, between 3 of you, cannot create an easy list of 100 absurd ideas between different fields and stuff, you got something wrong. Begin to work with that. Richard Branson created 250 companies. Not every one of them successful, but a few are, right? And he's a billionaire. Thomas Edison, about 2,500 patents. Not all of them are successful, but a few are, and they're considered the greatest people of our time. So push the envelope. I'm going to leave you with this thought. If somebody gave you $1 billion to change the world, what would you do? What would you change? And that thought right there is your passion. And I want you to follow it. I want you to find your passion, and I want you to write it down, and then I want you to create your idea around it, because you're going to not stop until you've made that happen, until you've solved that. So guys, I think we're going to head over and do a teamwork activity, and I hope this gives you a little bit of a mindset to be in for the rest of these 10 weeks.
All right, so like you said, we're going to head over to room 220, correct? 22. And do a real quick activity. It's going to have a little bit of a fun twist to it. It's called the Marshmallow Challenge. And we're going to be handing those binders out after we're done. So if you all want to follow Riley, she will take you into that room.
And be sure to take your team paperwork with you, because this is going to be a team activity. Your very first with your team for the next 10 weeks.
Here's the attendance sheet, by the way.
A lot.
Yes.
Attendance sheet, anybody? Awesome.
Take it, Lynn.
I'm excited to work with you on that. Oh, I love you too. I feel like me, you, and Kelsey. It's good. It's gonna be a pretty good group.
Oh, yeah.
Do I keep this or do I hand this back?
They only had 1 copy of it, but it ended with you, I guess. Or 2 copies of it.
I'm not on the list. So
Yeah, I
can
know,
just
they're-
not do anything, please?
She can just join her.
Like, not be a part of this activity, because I am seeing double.
Okay, you can go ahead and go home. I'm not going to already signed up.
Yeah, but my ride isn't here yet.
All right. So.